all around. That's the memories.
Yeah. Father was a coach, you know, just a football lifer, same like John Eric Sullivan. Both of them cut from that same cloth. And boy, those Giant fans, Giant fans been long, you know, you barely turn on your face. You barely turn on the Giants. I mean, you like the Giants, you love the Giants, and you just live with them. I like to see the franchises. Look, the Dolphins have the same thing. They have a lot of great fans that have stuck with this football team through the last 20 some odd years with no playoffs. But they, you know, every stadium we go to, very well represented, much like a Giants football team. That those franchises have been around forever, and good for them, good for their fans, and I think this good things are coming for the Giants with just John Harbaugh over there.
Yeah, you know, and Harbaugh's the veteran, but they've got the same mentality.
Yep.
You know, that defense first, the discipline, the effort, the physicality. Giants shaking up on the play here on the offensive line, back on his feet. And, you know, and we kind of saw that in the joint practice. You know, they don't want any punches being. It actually bothers Jeff Hafley a lot when there's punches and that stuff in the joint practices. As we look at Harbaugh, who had the one Super Bowl win, averaged 10 wins a year with the Ravens. But, you know, maybe we really shouldn't be surprised that that joint practice got a little nasty, got a little fiery. These two teams trying to prove something.
They're both trying to change the culture of a franchise. Both of them want physical football, but they want to be technically sound, and they want to be disciplined. But and then look, you have that heat of that day.
Boy, was it hot.
One little, you know, it's like a powder keg. One guy pushes a guy after a play, and all of a sudden, it's all it takes to turn things on. And once someone throws a punch, it just becomes a free for all.
Yeah, and it was Abdul Carter, by the way, one of the you know, impact Giants on defense that, you know, threw the punch, and then later on a little more happened. There's video of that out there. By the way, I guess fitting with our conversation now, Bill Parcells, 85 years old today.
Wow.
Of course, great Giants coach, and then was with the Dolphins in the front office.
Yep.
Sure, he's hanging out at Saratoga this weekend. That's a good guess. This is going to be pass interference.
You know, the last break, you know, we went off the air, and Jeff Hafley was, you could see it was, you know, it was a play that was a bungle play, but doesn't get upset, just gets his notepad down. He's talking about this, and he's not, you know, he's not going to scream and yell at people. I think he knows where they're at, knows where this team's at, and he's going to be patient and build this thing, and it's gonna move. Look, I'm not going to say it's going to move quickly, but I think you're going to see between, you know, the first game of the season, and when you get to mid-season, I think you're going to see a
illegal contact, number 35. That foul will be declined. Pass interference, number 35. That's a spot foul. First down.
Isn't the pass interference the illegal contact? Isn't it all kind of one big?
The same, yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
One in the same.
There's battle.
But I think once you get to the middle of the season, I think you're going to see a much different product.
Yeah, Hafley trying to, you know, build the foundation of what, you know, they want this team to be, along with John Eric Sullivan, the general manager who started out as a scouting intern in Green Bay, spent 23 years there, VP of player personnel the last 4 years. His dad, Jerry, was Dolphins wide receiver coach in the early 2000s. That's a good catch and a big hit by Lewis Moore. Hodgins able to hold on to it. Moore with the hit at safety. By the way, last time Lewis Moore played at Hard Rock Stadium, national championship game for Indiana. They beat the University of Miami. He had 7 tackles back in January. Undrafted free agent trying to find his way onto the roster. So first down for the Giants, the 45. Bankston gets the call up the middle. Mulba led the charge for the Dolphins on the interior of the defensive line. Mulba, Keith Cooper getting some extended playing time here for the Dolphins. You know, Zach Sealer's been out with injury. Yep. Kenneth Grant, last year's #1 pick out of Michigan, been out with injury as well. And Haven't seen Zeke Biggers in either of the preseason games. He's down on the sideline, shorts and a jersey. See how the Dolphins play it in that preseason finale next week. And the Giants are going to call a timeout. The play clock was winding down.
30 seconds.
You know, this team is going to struggle throughout the course of this year. And look, you don't want to look too far ahead, but I'm going to look a little bit farther ahead.
Yeah.
By the end of this season, there's going to be a lot of these guys that aren't going to be back again. But the guys that are going to be here and stay here, they're going to be indoctrinated. They're going to play the way that Jeff Hafley wants to. You know, it's going to be a tough season, but I think there's some positivity once you get done with this one and get everything turned around.
Well, they got conviction with Malik Willis. You know, Jeff Hafley was running the defense in Green Bay the last 2 years, and Malik was the backup quarterback to Jordan Love, so he'd go against them, the scout team, and he got to know him very well, and it's one of the first things they did. They said, hey, let's get Malik Willis here as a free agent. Over the middle, that's complete to the tight end who goes inside the 40 and down to the 35-yard line. Manhurts, or Fedoni rather, second catch of the game for him.
And having a tough time, you know, they get to the ball, they hit the ball carrier and let them go 3, 4, 5 extra yards. Someone's got to step up and be the roadblock.
Third and 1 now. On the ground, that's good for the first down. Let's go down to the sideline to Mike Cunha.
Here now with Dolphins linebacker Jordan Brooks. Jordan, you know, talking to head coach Jeff Hafley after his last couple joint practices, he's been really impressed with the defense. What have you seen after facing the Commanders and watching your guys go up against the Giants?
I think it's been
a close-knit unit. What can you say about how you guys have come together here during training camp in the preseason?
It's been great, man. One thing that's mandatory for me is that we always break bread with each other, and that we come as close as we can. I think that that's the most important thing about the brotherhood, about the fellowship, is that you get to know the person. And so our room, we do everything together, on and off the field. And so I just love the way that we've competed this camp, pushed each other, hold each other accountable. I think it's only going to make us better and make our team better.
Jordan, thank you so much. Best of luck this season. Appreciate it. Good talking to you. Guys, back with you.
Mike, thanks. Jordan Brooks, team leader on the defensive side of things for sure, and really overall. Yeah, that's one thing you've heard a lot from the Dolphin players during this training camp. You know, we talked to Will Kazmarek yesterday. He talked about how close the rookies are. And to what Mike, you know, was talking about with head coach Jeff Hafley, you know, Kazmarek said, now that I've gotten here, and he's a big guy, a blocking tight end, he said, I see what they did in the draft. There's a bunch of guys that have that mentality.
But you got guys like, you know, Willie Gay, Brooks, Dotson, those three guys, they're the glue with that linebacker group. And you know what? It's, you know, they're together as linebackers, but they extend to the secondary, that whole defense. I mean, probably by the middle of this year, you can have this whole defense going out to dinners at the same time. But, you know, that closeness that he talks about, you know, it perpetuates itself on the football field sometime. When you're around guys and you're that close to them and you work together, it's so much. There's times in the football field where you can just look at a guy in his eyes and you know what he knows what you want to do, and you know what he knows what you want to do and what he needs to do, and you just don't have to. It doesn't have to be verbally thrown out there. It's just something that's inbred in it. And so it's, but it takes work, and I think Jordan Brooks has done a good job of getting that closeness together and trying to get that thing going.
Second down. Giants inside the Dolphins 20. And that's batted down, incomplete. As we chat about Will Kazmarek, let's get back downstairs to the sidelines, Mike.
Yeah, Goldie, Will Kazmarek, the subject of our Infinity Player profiles. Watching after he made that catch earlier in the game, Greg Dulcich come over and talk to him. We talked about how some of these units are really close with each other on this team.
What was your favorite moment at Ohio State? You know, he's a great player there. And he said the Michigan game last year. So what did I do? I went back and looked up the highlights. He had a couple of catches, and they pounded Michigan in the big house. I mean, Will Kazmarek is a guy that's got that mentality. It's almost like he's an extra offensive lineman out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a big, strong, tough guy, and I think we've seen a bonus from him that his ability to run routes and catch the football, because, you know, when they drafted him, it was all about blocking and this and that, but through this training camp, he's shown a little bit more.
Ben Saul's in for the 37-yard field goal.
Yeah.
Well, the Giants' kicking battle continues. Both kickers have been perfect today. 9:23 to go at Hart. To the 25, where he is upended. Immediately, good tackle by Raheem Lane. So field position, you know, for the most part, Dolphins have been backed up in this game. Some of it, you know, self-inflicted with penalties and pushed them back on special teams. But here, Gronowski, who has played the second half, starts from his own 24. Theo East Jr. now in the game for the Dolphins. Terrace Marshall Jr. as well. And Josh Preeb is now getting snaps at center. Gronowski keeps it himself. He's got good legs. You know, he was very efficient running the football last year, playing for Iowa in college. Bo Braid on the tackle there. Gain of 9.
Yeah, that's a planned run for the quarterback. Jeremiah Franklin out in front of him, giving him a block.
Franklin, one of those in-camp pickups. Tight end, actually played for Jeff Hafley at Boston College. Chris Tabor, the special teams coach there next to Hafley. Those special teams coach, they're always fun guys to talk to. They always got some juice.
Yeah.
And, you know, Tabor, you know, talking to him, he said, hey, you know, we watch the tape. The one thing that he likes, nobody ever stops.
Yeah.
You know, the effort. And maybe part of that is a product, Bo, as you said, you know, half the team on one-year deals. You know, 24, 25 rookies, a lot of motivated players trying to make a name for themselves in their careers.
Yeah, then look, sometimes, you know, during the preseason, they may only do special teams, and so, you know, there's always every now and then you see the guy that comes in, he just makes the plays on special teams, big hits, you know, making big plays, and say, hey, we don't have a place for him to play in the during the game other than special teams. And a lot of times those guys turn out to be special team captains and this and that, and they have pretty good careers throughout the course of it.
Gronowski was pressured by Caleb Murphy, so he rolled out and had to throw it away. And the Dolphins unable to pick up the first, and they'll punt it away. It'll be Pinion again on the punt.
He's getting some work today.
100%, and so is Tabor with the coverages. You know, opportunity for guys, gunners on the outside. You know, he mentioned guys, you know, draft picks like Kyle Lewis, Traore. Those guys have been, you know, learning on special teams. Gibson will fair catch back at his own 17-yard line. Giants take back over. 7:53 to go.
The Dolphins need to find some of that, but intense. There's no. I've been to a number of practices. You've been there too. I've never seen where people are just lagging around. Everybody's doing something. Everybody's working on something. Guys stay after practice and do what they need to do to be ready to play and try to make this football team. And it says a lot for Jeff Hafley and his coaching staff.
Giants gone deep into the quarterbacks now. Jake Haener is the third QB being used. Jackson Dart didn't play today. Haener was a 4th-round pick in 2023 from the Saints. Giants are his third team. So that's that third quarterback battle between Haener and Allen. Behind, of course, Dart and Jameis Winston, who had a very good game today. Here's a look at Jameis. What a personality he's got. #1 overall pick, across the state in Tampa back in 2015. Still has the feet. We saw the legs today. Ran a touchdown in. Coleman Lyles on the tackle against Eric Gray.
Well, if
He
you
got
can,
through the hole to get the first.
if you can play quarterback in this league at a certain level, you got a long career ahead of you, right? You come in as a starter, and then when you get bumped out by somebody else, there's always a team looking around for that veteran guy like a Jameis Winston or some of those other guys that are floating around. Look, we saw Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, and we saw the Red Rocket,
Andy Dalton. Yeah.
last week.
Still plugging along there in
Still plugging along.
Philadelphia.
So look, these guys, you can have long careers and earn a lot of money if you could just get going. So pretty good job when you can get it.
Now Winston now at 32 years old.
Still a youngster.
He is. He can keep on going as the backup quarterback. Why not? 2nd and 9 now for the Giants. 5.5 to go here at Hard Rock Stadium. Haener keeps it. Now flips it out to the tight end. And coming up with a big hit there was Green. The third ruled down was Fidoni as the ball came loose. It'll bring up third. Giants brought over Isaiah Likely, who of course was with John Harbaugh in Baltimore. They've got Theo Johnson, who's had some flashes in his couple of seasons with the Giants as well at tight end. So Fidoni here's today has gotten some balls going his way, trying to prove something. Dolphins defense trying to get off the field, showing some pressure. They bring it, Haener gets rid of it, that's complete, and that's a first down. Cambry made the catch. Johnson Jr. for the Dolphins on the tackle. And they'll move the sticks again.
Giants haven't struggled to move the ball, that's for sure. Can't get the defense in, can't get personnel in.
Yeah, Cam Riley, linebacker, just came on. Here's Bankston. Makes something out of nothing to get a couple of yards. Kyle Lewis, the rookie, who's been popping around, playing a little safety this week, as they expected that when they drafted him out of the University of Pittsburgh. They've got some versatile players. Lewis and linebacker jogging off the field now. He's one of them. Jeff Hafley absolutely loved what he did during the joint practice a couple of days ago. Great athlete. Unfortunately, of the trio of rookie linebackers, Trey Moore left the game back in the first quarter today and went to the locker room. Hope to get good news on him. Harvey and Woodard on the tackle. There's a look at Kyle Lewis, New Jersey native. Just a tremendous athlete, and the ability, he can move him around. He was played nickel in college with Sam. Jeff Hafley loves that versatility, and that's part of the reason that he's a fit here as a draft pick.
Yeah, when you look at that secondary, there were two things that were really, clear to you. A lack of wide receivers and a lack of secondary. I think the wide receivers with the three rookies in Washington, they've kind of, filled that role. But you still got a lot of questions. Chris Johnson's certainly going to be there, but from then on, you got Zane Anderson, you got Taft, you got all these different guys. Trade, you got all those guys that are still okay. They're out there, but are they good enough? And where are you going to put people? So I think going in there's and then again, as I've talked about probably too much in this program, was the lack of edge rushers. And I think that's where your biggest concern for this football team is. Got to find some way to get those